Hello, my name is Emmanuel Appiah Kubi, a professional high school teacher with over 5 years experience in teaching science. I really love my job and I see myself as a knowledgeable, passionate and hardworking teacher. I like to challenge myself in all the aspects when it comes to education and then the well-being of my students. I motivate and challenge my students that anything is possible and doable, and they can become whoever they intend to become in future. I'll teach them to have an unlimited goals. I always inculcate technology into my instructional delivery, and I like to read more about science. My hobbies are to play, and I also engage myself in extracurricular activities like sports. I'm a fan of soccer and then badminton. I really love my job. My motivation to become a science teacher or a teacher as a general is my desire to help people. Growing up, helping people to achieve what they intend to achieve has always been a source of fulfillment to me. I grew up, I had a father who was also a teacher, and then he was able to shape me and my siblings to become whoever we are today. My inspiration to also help students and then have a positive impact on their lives, to be able to become whoever they want to become. That is, have also positive impact in the society at large. It's my driven motivation. And also teaching has also given me the chance to challenge myself, to also pursue scientific curiosity, and also how to know what really is the concept behind certain technological equipments, and then how things was brought about, because I believe science is life. So I always want to challenge myself, and with the help of my colleagues, every day is a new day, and then is a new learning day for me, because I always want to learn. And then I really love my job as a teacher, and I intend to do it till my dying days, and also to help people have positive impact on people. I am a sportsman myself. I coach and play badminton, soccer, and table tennis. And then I am a knowledgeable teacher when it comes to field and track events like 4x4 relay, 100-meter race, and also javelin throw, discus throw. I read most about this and I've been practicing it. Last year, we were runners-up in the inter-school sports championship, which was held in the stadium. I've been doing this, and I believe I will be able to share my knowledge and be part of the school sports committee if I am hired. Thanks. I am a professional science teacher, and I've been teaching science from Form 1 to Form 3 in our system of education. And when it comes to the American system of education, that will be from grade 10 to grade 12. Typically of students age 14 to 18 years of age, and I've been doing this for the past 5 years. I start my lesson preparation by consulting from textbooks and also using the syllables. Here we use our NACA syllables and also the WAEC syllables, that is the West African Examination Council syllables. I do my consultation from all these textbooks to be able to get my teaching and learning resource. The ultimate goal in learning science is to make it look easy for the students to understand and also make meaning to life. So I always introduce my lesson so that it will relate to the real life experience, and also introduce technology into my lesson. My lesson plan always include my lesson objectives, which is normally stated and then given to the students to be able to let them know what we hope to achieve at the end of the lesson. I also revise my previous knowledge, that is before we start a new lesson. I also introduce my learning resources in the lesson plan, and also the core points, I state them down. And also at the end of the day, I need to evaluate, that is in the course of lesson. And then right after the lesson, I can also evaluate. All these sum up to what we call the formative way of assessing my students. And then that will help me know the progress that have been made at the end of the lesson, to be able to also know my remarks. If the remarks will also help me to know if I should go back or know that most of them, or in fact all of them, understood it, so we can move forward. And then this is what my lesson plan includes. There are a lot of teaching methods that I effectively use. Mostly it depends on the topic I intend to treat. But the most frequent ones, which has proven to be more effective that I normally use, one is the hands-on experiment. That is, I normally engage my students in project and practical experiments. I normally bring them to the lab and then give them access to what we intend to use to get to know, and then also to make the complex nature of science looks easy. You know, the ultimate goal is at the end of the day, they should be able to understand the principle. That is the practical principle after learning the theory. I believe this will go a long way in them knowing what it really entails. Secondly, I also use the inquiry-based learning. I'm more of a learner-centered teacher, and I like to engage my students by factoring in their gender equality and social inclusive. We are all equal. So in order for them to learn and feel comfortable, I create this conducive atmosphere, and then I try to bring out scenarios, questions for them to think critically and then relate it to their real life situations, what they normally meet outside. With this, students are able to think critically and then develop these problem solving skills with little or no help at all. So with this, it will foster the sense of curiosity and then the willingness to find solution to this. So students are able to think advanced, and then these are my most effective ways of implementing or starting my lesson, and it has yielded so enough and then high success rates. When someone enters my classroom, that person is going to see a well-composed class with a very good seating arrangement, class arrangement, and my students will be actively solving problems either in groups or as individual, depending on topic we are treating. That person is also likely to see students visualizing and students collaborating to make a lab report, and also learn and then solve problems by critically thinking. That is what this person is likely to see in my classroom. To evaluate my students, I use the formative and then the summative way of assessing students. For the formative way of assessing students, this has to do with assessing students in the delivery of instructional lesson or at the end of every instructional lesson, either by using the multiple choice questions way, the feelings way, and then the quizzes. You can also use question and then answering in the classroom to be able to know the progress being made in the class and then the level of understanding when it comes to the students. This will all form parts of the 30% of the overall assessment. The second is the summative way, which has to do with the end of semester exam, which will take 70% of the overall assessment. And this 70% added to the 30% will be 100% of the overall assessment. And this will help me know their progress and then make informed decisions about the choices, and then also be able to inform me, the teacher, to know the teaching and learning styles to adapt, and also work on adapting new learning styles to help the teaching and learning of science easy. As a science teacher, I know the relevance of technology in my science instructional delivery. I know with access to technological devices like my laptop, projector, and screen, it will help the deeper understanding of certain abstract concepts in science. With this, students are able to learn science and it becomes easy for them to assimilate. And then with this, students are able to watch videos and relate it to real life scenarios. And at a point where I need to improvise, I do that to the best of my knowledge, and then to help kids understand the concept of science after treating the theory. I normally use this after explaining concept, and I give them the chance to watch videos and then watch 3D dimensions of certain diagrams on the board. I have had the privilege to use smartboard in our school. We've had workshop on it because very soon we'll be having an entire lab fixed with smartboard, and I must say it's a very effective way of learning science, and it will help students to even access notes, videos, everything on the board, even in the absence of a teacher. Now, when I am employed, it won't be much of a difficult thing. I'm already vexed and I know much into using smartboard, which I intend to roll out and then use it effectively to achieve common goal. As a teacher, form master, and a block coordinator, I have first-hand experience when it comes to noisy, non-attentive, or disruptive students. I have had the chance to experience some in my class. What I normally do when lesson is going on is I sometimes mention their name and then call them, direct questions to them so that they will bring their attention to what's going on in the class. But normally these things is as a result of stress and frustration. So as a teacher, you need to always put yourself in their shoes and then understand where they are coming from. So you always use phrases that is welcoming, not to provoke them. Example, if the child's name is Bernard, you can go by saying, Bernard, I understand your frustration. I understand why you are making noise or talking. But can you please pay attention? When we are done, I will then get back to you so that we will resolve whatever is worrying you. And then you shouldn't use words or phrase to include all the students in the class. If the disruptive nature of the student is beyond your control, you can ask for him to excuse you as lesson progresses in a nice way, and then you can later involve your superiors or probably the parents of the child. One way to also do that is to make eye contact and wink to the students to bring his or her attention to whatever is going on. In this case, the entire lesson will continue and then class will not be disturbed, and then students will participate in whatever is going on. As a science teacher and a professional one, to be precise, with over 5 years experience in teaching science, I have encountered so many problems. The most recent one had to do with a special needs student in my class, a class I was giving that is a Form 3 class in America, that would be grade 12. This guy is a special needs student. He's a slow writer and at the same time a slow learner. So in that case, I had to tailor my lesson plan to suit him. First, what I did was to print my PDF notes for him so that when his colleagues are copying, he won't be at below par, and he's always stay abreast with whatever is going on in the class. And at the same time, I had to find instructional hours to also assist him in learning, because that's what teachers need to do. Since here we practice all-inclusive education, we don't have a separate time and then a separate lesson period for special. It's all inclusive, and I had to create environment in the classroom for him to feel welcome, and for him not to belittle himself that he doesn't know anything. And at the end of the day, he's making progress. The recent vacation test we did, I saw improvement, and I intend to continue to do that until he finishes school. As a hardworking, knowledgeable, and flexible teacher, I always implement new teaching and learning methods to help in understanding of certain topics, and it is with this reason why my students always pass, and I'm always in a happy mood, because at the end of the day, my students get to go to college and do whatever course they intend to do. And then I have this method of, after teaching theory, sometimes student doesn't get the nature of the topic that we are teaching. So I need to implement hands-on experiment. That is where the project-based students are given access to practicals. I don't know, they will write a lab report to help me make informed decisions about the progress we've been made. A typical example could be if you are teaching, for example, laws of reflection. Now, students in theory will get to know that angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. And that is when it will be in an abstract form, because if it is not plane mirror, how then do we get to know this? So that is where I give access to students to be able to use plane mirror, and with the help of optical pins, they are able to trace an incident ray, reflected ray, and with the help of their protractor, they get to measure. A typical example is also teaching that the focal length of a converging lens, when an object from afar incident on a converging lens, image is formed on the screen. From the distance of where the sharp image is formed to the optical center will be your focal length, and the image form will be inverted. This becomes abstract. Now, I normally give access to students to be able to converge an object from afar and then calculates the image distance from the screen to the optical center. This will be their focal length. So by observing for themselves the inverted sharp image and the distance, they get to know this, and it becomes easy for them to understand.